Hi, this is Sandra from Keeping It Spiritually Simple. How's everybody doing today? So, I am very fortunate to be here today with my good friend and guest, Carolyn Laura from Indigo Rose Wellness. And like me, she's a coach, but a different kind of coach. So, instead of going through her amazing bio, we'll let her introduce herself. Welcome, Laura.
Yay. So great to be here with you today, Sandy. Happy to introduce myself. And coaching is so huge right now with so many people in transformation. And we kind of wanted to take a few minutes to talk about why you might need a coach, how the coaching is totally different. For myself, I've been a professional hair and makeup artist for 20 years. And I built my business from the ground up using divine downloads, no business school, just the divine helped me build a beautiful, beautiful business for the last 15 years. And now I'm teaching creatives how to remove their own inner blocks and receive their own inner guidance. A lot of intuitive strategy along the way. I'm very blunt, very direct, tell you straight up how it is. And I can also see the highest vision that is your potential to create. So I love to help my clients really expand into their higher states.
Well, that's awesome. And you have been in the business for a while. And I know even for me as, a coach, we always rely on other coaches to help guide us and give us insight and little tips that are working and synchronistic things that we may have in common. Although we're both coaches and spiritual guidance coaches, we both have so many different things that we do that is the opposite of what the other person does. So it complements. So I never have any issue referring my clients to Carolyn because she's got a whole different strategy about what she does, whereas I might go more into the holistic healing, embodiment of the soul, what might be holding you back there. And you go into it in a different way. So do you want to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I could talk about my experience when you were working with me as your client as well. And it is very, very different than any approach that I use. You took me through some past life regressions, and I was able to really experience blockages from an aerial view. So I could kind of see them and not be so close in their face where it was kind of hard to untangle. And then once you experience these deep emotions, you process through it. So it's
Yeah.
very, very rapid embodiment of whatever you're kind of trying to strive to. My process is a little bit different where I'm going to be talking with the person about their archetypes, and we look through I kind of mirror the 12 main archetypes that are showing up in their personality and look at how the light and shadow aspect, maybe having some little sabotaging fun underneath the surface there. And then we look at the vision, and usually there's some creative blocks, unworthiness, fear, and you're kind of attached to the perfectionism of your creation. And we're unraveling that so the creation's free to come through you. A lot of businesses are changing. I work with creative businesses. I work with intuitives and empaths a lot on, sure, 2019 was great. 2020, whatever. 2021, whole different beast. In 2022, we're going into higher and higher levels. You've got to be able to catch up. If you've not spent a significant amount of time doing your deep inner work, this is the time where you really need a coach to help you get there to the next level as rapidly as possible.
Yeah, I agree. And, even like when I was putting together different things for websites and so on, I personally, you guys had to call on Carol and Laura like once a week. We'd get together and, because when you're trying to talk about yourself and you've got this emotional component to it and so many other things happening, and then you don't realize that you're literally just can't get to the next paragraph because you just stumble over it. And so, when you and I worked together, we were able to iron out some of those things and bring in, almost like another beautiful language that was hidden, in ways. And so coaching is just, it's for everybody. It's like, there was a day and time when people were like, therapy, what's therapy? Oh my God, that's embarrassing, to the point where everybody has a therapist to get them in and out of it. So coaching is really the same thing. Except for it's usually out of pocket. You're paying for it out of pocket, but you're also investing in yourself to get to the next level. So you're helping somebody get in there, not just with a microscope, but with a magnifying glass, and saying, okay, this is for you to look at. This is for you to work on. And I'm here to hold space and maybe point out some things that someone else might candy coat for you, And so I think our personalities are similar there. It's like, look, you're paying me to help you. I'm going to give you all of what I've experienced and what I know, and then all my training, just like you do. I mean, you didn't sugarcoat it. You're like, Sandy, stop talking. Now let's go into this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, you're right.
One other thing is the difference between coaches and therapists. I've been through therapists a long time. I love my therapist. She's great. It's for one particular thing. It's not rapid. You're not going to rapidly find the root of the issue and rapidly transform it. Coaching's differently. You're like, oh, it's unworthiness. Do you want to keep rolling with that, or do you want to actually move forward? Okay, well, you're worthy. Embody that. It's way faster,
Yes.
And the other thing that is something a little bit different, I can kind of just get this big picture vision. One of Sandy's specialties is working with children in a very intuitive manner. She had a lot of experience with massages and Reiki for babies and, different things of that nature. I can instantly see her, not just with one client, but I can see her branching out on a very large scale. How many families in the United States have a child that's able to see on different dimensions or communicate deeper with spirit, and that needs help of a professional to work with the child? So I could instantly see how broad, her skills can be used. And that's one of my gifts as well, to really expand it. Sometimes the clients are like, all right, a little too much for me to handle. Let's get the vision a little bit smaller. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. But I can see it very, very big picture of, when something's hit right on, I want to roll with it and get it going for the client.
Yeah. And I think the beautiful thing about your work too is, you're a visionary, first off, but you're an intuitive visionary. So when any of us are stuck in the emotional pain body of any kind, even if we don't even associate it with pain, we associate pain with shoulder, neck, back, and we're not expecting one massage or one physical therapy or one Advil to take care of any of that. But with the visionary work that you do, it just helps somebody understand that, oh, this is a whole different aspect. And then instead of coming right at them, it's like, all right, slow down, take your breath, get your roll on there. But here's your homework. Yeah. You really want to get to the next level. This is an equal participation. Don't come to me because you think I'm doing all the work for you by pointing out A, B, and C, and D, and however long the list is. This is for, if you came to me, you better have the courage and the wherefore all and the drive to get yourself to the next level. Because, like me, and I know from your amazing work, I mean, of course we want to sustain and make a great living, but our whole thing is about empowering that person so that they're flying out of their nest and they can just come back and check in after, the first series, because you're never one and done, but you're doing a series to peel back those layers and then go, okay, let me come at it from this. And you're more of a strategist than I am. I think your visionary work is so much more strategizing in a different way. So for a business coach, man, I'm right with you, right beside you. Like, come on, girl, rub elbows with me. I need your help.
And one thing I love that you said was mentioning courage. And
Yes.
here's a big part of being a good coaching client. When you're getting the mirror back to yourself and you're like, oh, there's a bunch of shame here. It does not feel good to look at your own shame that you've created with your actions or your karma or whatever. Facing your shame is deep, it's dense, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And to take
Yes.
courage to sit with those deep emotions, to have it transmuted. Like if you avoid it, it gets inflicted back into yourself for sabotage, deeper
Yeah.
levels of sabotage. If you're like, oh, I finally found the shame, I finally found the source, let me look at it, let me feel it and process it, it moves out. You know, there might be another deep emotion hidden underneath of that you have to deal with as well. It's kind of like an onion sometimes until you've done enough of the work. But it really does start with courage to go to the next level and face whatever is holding you back from getting there.
Yeah. And, that is such a good point because shame is such a heavy thing that a lot of people don't associate with so many pinpoints of their sabotage. And, as you were saying that, what was coming up through me was, many people, once they realize, oh gosh, that was shameful, what I did or what I've been doing or whatever it might be, they'll hide under the shame blanket for a period of time until they don't know how to get out of it. So they'll suppress it and ignore it once again, or carry that around like this heavy burden. And the beautiful thing about coaching is, okay, you're accountable, and we're here to love you and to support you and to hold space. But we're also here to take your hand and say, come on.
Yeah.
Here's the steps. Let's get to the next level. We can do this together. But again, open participation.
Yeah. And I think another thing when you said to love the client, I've worked through my shame. I've done the work facing it. It was hard. I hated it. It sucked, but I've done it, So when I'm facing a client with shame, I can look at them in the eye and mirror unconditional love and hold that space for them to process their shame in the eyes of unconditional love. That makes a world of a difference to have a practitioner, coach, healer, whatever modality it is, that's actually done the work that they're helping facilitate you for.
Well, I think that's what makes you and I a little bit unique as well, is we chose to dive into our shadows and stay in there until we could get enough light in there that we could see beyond that and also become so much more that we authentically were designed to come here to do. And having a coach to support you on that, or, in that journey is amazing. So you and I have had firsthand how important it is to have that kind of coach and to go through that, and what little tricks really helped pick us up and help us, what our turning points were, what our big aha moments were when there were so many, which is what makes us even better at what we do, because we can understand not just through our own experiences, but in the experiences of others, but experiences through our clients as well. So we have a little more of that understanding of TLC of like, okay, I'm gonna give you a little space with this one, and then it could be the next time it's like, all right, I'm pulling you up and out of this one. Come on, you can do it.
Something else I want to mention too is maybe 2 years ago, I was working with a shaman, doing some really deep work, unraveling some of my onion layers, this and that. And we hit a spot of anger. Now, I'm a person that's been practicing unconditional love as a spiritual being 10 years, 15 years, whatever. If I feel a negative emotion, I immediately want to transmute it into a higher vibration. Well, there was a period of my life where I had to face a lot of hard things, and I processed the anger to the best of my ability. But there was a lot of anger that got buried deep into my subconscious just because it was so much of a traumatic experience for many years that I had to go through that I couldn't process it all on my own. So I'm thinking I'm doing a great job by, being as unconditionally loving as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Would I think under any circumstance that I was spiritually bypassing the anger? Absolutely not, right? When I finally got down to those deep levels of that anger, I felt like this was never going to end. I felt like my whole body was on fire. I'm calling the shaman for emergency calls like, is this ever going to end? Am I ever going to get through this anger? I didn't have any idea that years of anger was buried in my subconscious.
Yeah.
She's like, yes, write it out, write in your journal, take a walk in nature, baths, eat healthy, drink water. You're going to get through it. She's like, you're halfway through it right now. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to face, was at least 8 or 9 days of straight fire being transmuted. At the other side of that, I was a totally different person.
Yeah.
And that anger that was stored inside of me, on the other side, when the anger was processed, it was boundaries, it was security, inner security. Many beautiful gifts came on the other side of processing that anger, but I had no idea that much anger was even stored in me. I thought I did a great job because I'm acting in unconditional love. So that was a big lesson to me. And I think to a lot of other spiritual people, especially if you're kind of newer on the path, you think loving might be the best possible vibration, but you have to go through all of the human vibrations. You have to process out all of it. And the deep, heavy stuff, a healer like us, coach, different things like that, you kind of need someone to help you transmute with you.
Yes. And that's what you call the deep dive, sister, the deep dive. And you've got to have a buddy system.
Exactly.
You got to have a buddy system. And at the end of this dive, there'll be another one, and some will be deep and some will be shallow and some will be this. But at the end of the day, when you become this authentic self that you have such loving respect for, you love the integrity and the respect of the coach that was your buddy through all of this, who really cared sincerely from the deepest components of our heart to help you blossom like a lotus with your heart and excel in the areas that you want to excel in. And so, well, with that, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show. And for clients to reach out to you, I will put it in the description as well. But is there a name of your business you'd like to share for people to contact you?
Yes, my business is Indigo Rose Wellness.
Indigo Rose Wellness.
Mm-hmm. And you can find me on Instagram, Indigo Rose Wellness, or on the website. My website's currently being redone right now, but it'll be back up in a few days.
I love that. Indigo Rose. That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Sorry about that on another session.
Yes, definitely. Well, we're going to be doing more of these together, these little like shorter versions of YouTubes that people can enjoy and get little tidbits of information and decide if you know this is right for you, but also just give you food for thought each time that we come together, because we're here to help each other wake up and become the best version of the God source intended spark that you are. And so, well, thank you everyone for being here to Keeping It Spiritually Simple with Sandra. And again, my wonderful guest, Carolyn Laura from Indigo Rose Wellness. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.